Let me get into some of the questions that we actually had thought of since since we're only a half hour into it. I think one of the big things, I've run internships, for well, for 12, 13, 14 years, whatever it is. And I'm always trying to think about how do we add more value to the students, right? Because
Yep.
I've had an internship. I've seen internships, competitors where they're really just trying to squeeze as much as they can out of the interns. And what a great opportunity though to have a sort of a symbiotic relationship and provide value and ultimately a hire out of that pool.
Yeah.
But I guess if you could, looking back and in spirit of adding value, looking back over the 15 years and sort of that road that you took us down, I guess, what would your advice be, for prepping for a career at, going back to the point of, okay, I'm a junior, sophomore,
Yeah.
junior. What does that look like?
You know, I think you might remember this, but part of the reason I wanted to come work for you is because I came from an insurance family, right? And my dad still sells workers' comp. My grandpa owned a PNC agency, so I thought it would be interesting and worthwhile to try the family business. But throughout college, I was super duper focused on finding the thing that I really wanted to do, thinking that, oh man, like one day there's going to be some like epiphany moment, and I'm going to realize that like my passion is this. Oh my God, my passion. That's really not how it worked. In fact, like what actually did work was doing a bunch of different things and realizing what I like doing and what I didn't like doing, and just kind of making like taking baby steps in the right direction, right? I would say, like broadly speaking, the first few years of your career is just about experimentation. So I think that like one thing that ended up, working out like really well for me is that like even though I didn't ultimately go into insurance, I did pick up like a ton of transferable skills, which is one, kind of like working in these scrappy upstart environments, and two, prospecting, pitching, and closing. Like those ended up being the kind of like bedrock elements of my career. So, I guess point one is don't worry too much about like finding the right thing or hitting a grand slam. Just try to do things that you think will give you growth opportunities and help you build transferable skills. The other thing was that, like towards the end of school, I thought I wanted to be in some kind of marketing science analytics. I thought I wanted to do like brand management and market research and stuff like that, and ended up like kind of like getting close enough to that stuff and realizing that it like wasn't interesting. There wasn't even as much money in it as I thought there was, and it would have just been much I kind of like short circuited that process by just kind of like getting out and talking to folks that were in those industries. LinkedIn wasn't really a thing back when I was in college. Now it is. Everybody should have a LinkedIn account. Like I could care less if your only job was that you were like a lifeguard before, that you're a waiter or whatever. Just get a LinkedIn account, add everybody and ping folks that you maybe are alumni of like wherever you're going to school, or that are from your community that you have some kind of connection to, and just say like, hey, I'm a student, I'm just looking for advice, I'm not looking for a job here. You'd be stunned how many folks will be happy to talk to you, because nothing is as sweet as the sound of one's own voice. And people love being asked about their life experiences as if it's going to prospectively help somebody else. They'll jump to do it. So I would say those two things. Like don't worry about the grand slam. Just try to get on base and like go out and talk to folks, and that's going to circumvent a lot of the anxiety that I had and a lot of like the slowness that I felt like I had getting started. And I think everybody feels anxious and they feel like they're not going fast enough.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people too. Even in the interview process, go and do as much as you can, and also realize that your 20s, especially your early 20s, it's still kind of an internship. You're still going out, you're trying things and realizing I don't like that, and then you're going to the next place. I think that's a healthy way to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, it's really helpful to come out of school knowing exactly what you want to do because it gives you like a bit of a head start, but nobody's going to beat you up at the 15-year, 20-year mark in your career, which you will hit at some point, because you like bounced around and did some different things for the first 3 to 5 years.
I think
It's just simply not how people think about it.
Yeah, I think your 20s need to look like a dumpster fire so that you can look back on it and be like, nope, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and see what you like. Failure to succeed, right?